The center would be organizing series of lectures where scholars would be invited from time to time to come and give these lectures. Sometimes the lectures may essentially focus on students, maybe career development lectures as the case may be, or any sort of lectures that may be more related to students' development. Other times, the lectures may be focused on the teachers, either in terms of the need for professional development as teachers, in order to broaden their own ideas and to deepen their knowledge in terms of pedagogy and new challenges in teaching and learning, as the case may be. Or the lectures may be this kind of lecture that is going to happen today, specifically organized for teachers, but not necessarily about their own professional development, but about their own life. How would they develop themselves? And how would they plan their lives as teachers? And sometimes the lectures may be related to general knowledge. And you would see that the Islamic approach to this is very robust, very simple, very realistic, and most importantly, you will be given tips that are Sharia-compliant. Because we Muslims, our lives are always guided by halal and haram, by ma'aruf and munkar. And therefore you need to be conversant with these things so that you would be guided in the way you do your things by the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is for this reason that we invited Professor Ahmad Bello Dogarawa to come and present this speech. This is a continuation of the series of lectures that Al-Ansar Center is conducting. I wish the speaker Allah's guidance in his own presentation, much as I wish us all happy listening. And I believe that inshallah ta'ala we are going to benefit from what is going to be presented. Thank you so much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is with greatest gratitude to Almighty Allah and with great personal joy that I stand before you this morning to welcome you to this very important and inspiring in our intellectual and spiritual journey here in ACCE, the third public lecture series of the Al-Ansar Center for Comprehensive Education, Abuja. On behalf of the Foundation, Board of Trustees, our management, and the entire Al-Ansar family, I extend heartfelt welcome to all our invited guests, our partners in education and development, and the entire staff of the ACCE. Your presence here today reaffirms our shared belief and commitment in our mission to shape minds, inquire hearts, and build a just, knowledgeable, and morally sound society. Our special appreciation goes to the chairman of the occasion, our dear brother and partner in faith, Mr. Hamid, Joda, the managing director and chief executive of the Touch Bank Limited, who is ably represented by Mohammed, the chief compliance officer of the bank. His mission, visionary leadership in ethical banking amplifies the blend of professional excellence and Islamic values that we strive to promote. This lecture series began with a vision to spark conversations that inspires spiritual reflections, academic curiosity, and practical transformation. From that of Sheikh Mohammed, our thought-provoking lecture on the prophecies of the Prophet ﷺ in the Bible in 2021, to Ustaz Nuruddin Lemin, powerful insight on Islamic education in the age of distraction in 2023, and the subsequent visit by a renowned Islamic scholar and preacher, Dr. Abdul Karim Naik, to this center. We have remained committed to the raising bar of the Islamic intellectual discourse in our society. We are deeply honored today to host Professor Ahmad Bello Dogarawa, a respected scholar, public intellectual, financial expert, and principal advocate of halal financial literacy. His lecture theme will be Fiqh and Financial Intelligence, Halal-Based Saving and Investment Tips, and Strategies for Teachers in Islamic School. It is a clarion call to empower our educators with knowledge, skills, and faith-based strategies to navigate personal finance through Sharia-Compliant principles. In a world of overwhelming economic uncertainties and conventional financial traps, this lecture aims to empower our future generations with tools, insights, and faith-based strategy to navigate personal finance through the lens of Sharia-compliant principles. The ACCE lecture series remains a beacon of our foundations, values, integrity, scholarship, and service to humanity. It is our contribution to the whole Ummah, a testimony to our belief that quality education is not a privilege, rather a responsibility of all of us. I would like to extend our appreciation to our special education advisor on education, Professor Salisu, for his strategic guidance, to our director of the center, Mr. Modibbo Bello, for his tireless commitment, to Dr. Tawfiq Tan, our acting head of school and head of administration, Mr. Mohammed, and the entire staff of the ACCE for their diligence and belief in our mission. May this gathering ignite us to the passion to keep learning, keep growing, and keep serving, so that our every child, teacher, and every stakeholder that touched by Al-Ansar will be strengthened in knowledge, deep in faith, and empowered in life. I therefore urge all the participants here to participate actively, reflectively, and network meaningfully. For our first time visitors, I encourage you to grow beautifully, learning a beautiful learning environment was built on a true sanctuary of learning, faith, and character development. With this, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, it is my singular honor and rare privilege, in the name of Almighty Allah, to declare the third ACCE Family Lecture Series officially open. May Almighty Allah bless our gatherings, reward our efforts, and make this day a source of blessings to the entire humanity. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
By way of introduction, I would like to remind us that teachers in today's Nigerian society have four main options for livelihood and economic survival. Only four options. Number one, dependency. You depend on others to provide for you. Two, begging and sycophancy. It's another option for some people. Three, patience and perseverance. You don't depend, you don't beg, or become a sycophant, but just exercise patience and perseverance. Though you don't have anything, you don't have what to eat, you exercise patience and perseverance. The fourth option is self-reliance. These are the four options that are available to teachers in today's Nigerian society. Dependency, begging, or sycophancy are not viable choices for any person of sound reasoning and discernment. Because if you depend on others to provide for you, you are then a liability, and this is not encouraged. Not only it is not encouraged, it is not allowed for you to depend when you can be on your own, yet you depend on others to provide you with livelihood. That is not permissible. While patience and perseverance are essential virtues, they alone are not sufficient. Can you be patient and perseverant without food? Can you spend 2-3 days without eating? It's not really possible. And even if it is, what will be how would you survive? And how would you look? What will be the outcome of your patience and perseverance for 3 days without food? So while they are virtues in themselves, they alone are not sufficient. So the only truly viable path is self-reliance. Like their counterparts in conventional schools, teachers in Islamic schools often struggle to survive on monthly salaries that are typically inadequate to meet their basic needs, let alone provide a comfortable standard of living. We all know that we can categorize the needs of human beings into three, as per the categorization given or suggested by Ash-Shatibi in his Al-Muwafaqat. You have the necessities, that's ad-daruriyat. You have the basic needs, these are called hajiyat. And then you have embellishments that are called tahsiniyat. If you take ad-daruriyat, most often the salaries of teachers in Islamic schools are not adequate to cater for their daruriyat. Not to talk of certain types and kinds of hajiyat that may be equated with even the daruriyat. Because there are certain hajiyat that are equated with daruriyat. Al-haja tunazzalu manzilat al-darura. There are such categories of hajiyat that are equated with daruriyat, as if they are also basic necessities. And then you have the tahsiniyat. So if the salaries are not adequate to meet their basic needs, what more of providing a comfortable standard of living? This reality
necessitates the pursuit of additional income, an increasingly challenging task that demands a solid understanding of financial intelligence. Because for you to be able to pursue additional income, to pursue another income stream in addition to your monthly salary, you need to have sound knowledge, sound understanding of financial intelligence. So what is this financial intelligence? Financial intelligence is the ability to understand and manage money effectively. If you like, the ability to understand and manage financial resources effectively. It involves 1, budgeting, 2, savings, 3, investing, and 4, avoiding financial traps. Because if you do not budget, it's like you are not planning to succeed. And if you don't plan to succeed, you are already planning to fail. So you need budgeting. 2, you need to save. Because it is only when you save that you'll be able to meet future needs, emergency needs. Without savings, you won't be able to meet future needs. When you save, and you save enough, you should be able to invest in order to grow your wealth. Because wealth growing is an important aspect of financial intelligence. And while you do that, you should try to avoid financial traps by avoiding Ponzi schemes, fake businesses, haram savings, haram-based investments, and the rest. From an Islamic perspective, financial intelligence is guided by Fiqh, Islamic jurisprudence, which is derived from the Quran, Sunnah, Ijma, that is consensus, and Qiyas, that is analogical reasoning. These 4 are the sources or the basis of Fiqh in Islam, and governs all aspects of life, because Fiqh governs all aspects of life, including financial dealings. So the scope of Fiqh extends to financial dealings, so much so that there is no act or no financial dealing that one will go into without some kind of regulations in terms of do's and don'ts, in terms of principles, in terms of guidelines, in terms of ethical considerations that the Fiqh has not provided. Both Fiqh and financial intelligence in the Islamic context aim to uphold justice, trust, transparency, equity, and the overall welfare of society. These are the main objectives of Fiqh and financial intelligence in the Islamic context. Financial intelligence is critically important for teachers in Islamic schools for several reasons. Let's look at some of these reasons. Number 1, Islamic teachers, or rather teachers in Islamic schools, have modest, inconsistent salaries, especially if they are working in private schools. Although the salaries are monthly in nature, but sometimes they are inconsistent because we have schools that cannot afford to pay their teachers monthly. So teachers will be owing, the school will be owing teachers 2-3 months' salaries. Again, it's very easy for one to lose that job. Unlike, for example, in conventional or public schools, where maybe the procedure for terminating one's appointment is really long, in private schools is not so. The procedure is not that long. Your appointment can be terminated any time. on the basis of we no longer need your services. So the salaries are modest and are often inconsistent. 2, there is lack of formal pension schemes and retirement benefits for teachers in Islamic schools. Although this will vary from school to school. In some schools, they have certain schemes or plans for their teachers. But most Islamic schools don't have this kind of scheme or retirement plan for their teachers. 3, emergency expenses may always come up without savings. It is a typical characteristic of teachers in Islamic schools that emergency expenses may come up without any savings. 4, there is absence of social safety net in the country, whereby if you work, whether for private organization or for public institutions, you are guaranteed of social safety net at retirement. In Nigeria, we do not have this system. And even if we have it, it is more on paper than in practice. 5, teachers in Islamic schools are vulnerable to falling into riba and other haram transactions due to financial pressure. Their children may fall sick and they don't have money. They don't have any savings. No one is willing to borrow their money, so to lend their money. So at the end, they go into riba-based transactions by going to microfinance banks, conventional banks, or conventional commercial banks to borrow money with interest. So they are vulnerable to falling into riba and other haram transactions. Let's take some scenarios. Scenario 1, Zaid is a Quran and Arabic teacher at a private Islamic school in Abuja, earning a monthly salary of 50,000 naira. He is married with 3 children. When faced with unexpected expenses due to his child's illness, Zaid was forced to borrow money from a loan app with high interest, which trapped him in a cycle of debt. What steps can Zaid take to improve his situation? This is scenario number 1. Scenario 2. Hindu is a female English teacher at an Islamic school in Zaria, earning a monthly salary of 45,000 naira. Although single, she financially supports her elderly mother. Seeking to increase her income without compromising Islamic financial principles, Hindu rejected conventional savings apps due to their interest-based models. What are halal options for growing her income? Scenario 3. Bakr is a 50-year-old principal at an Islamic school with about 10 years left before retirement. He earns a monthly salary of 100,000 naira and has 7 children. Currently, he lives in a 2-bedroom apartment provided by the school. But he has no formal pension or retirement plan in place. Concerned about financial insecurity after retirement, Bakr is seeking viable options for long-term financial stability. What options are available to him? These are 3 scenarios that should guide our thinking while we delve into the business of the day. And these are practical issues. Perhaps one of you here may admit, if asked, that he had once faced this kind of challenge, isn't it? So what do you do about it? How do you go about solving the problem? What options are available to you? This is the crux of the matter. And this is what I really want to take us through, inshallah, in this presentation. I'm not going to answer this. I'm not going to say anything about these three scenarios. I will leave it with all. I will leave them with us. By the end of my presentation, I will then ask you to contribute, inshallah. Please keep these three scenarios in mind. Financial intelligence equips teachers to manage money responsibly, save and invest wisely, and avoid unethical practices. Teachers with financial intelligence can educate students on practical financial skills within an Islamic framework. So which means if you are equipped with the basic skills of financial intelligence, it will not only benefit you, but also impact on the way you teach your students. You will be able to facilitate learning of basic skills in financial intelligence to the students. Financial intelligence encompasses the essential knowledge, skills, and mindset required to handle money both efficiently and with integrity. Let's look at the components of financial intelligence. From the slide, you can see that financial intelligence has four main components. There are many, actually, but you can conveniently categorize them into four. Number one, financial literacy. So if you don't know, you won't be able to practice. فاقد شيء لا يعطيه. You cannot give what you don't have. So you need to be literate in financial planning, financial management, investments, savings, and the rest of them. Two, budgeting and money management. You need to be conversant with budgeting and how to manage money. Three, saving and investing. You need to have the skills, because it's not just enough that you have money. The fact that you have some savings and you want to invest does not mean you know how to invest or where to invest. You may invest in haram outlets. You may also invest in a very high risky investment that will lead to the erosion of your capital or your principal investment. You may also fall into the trap of scammers. So you need to have the skills of savings and investment, because these are practical things. They are not just theory, they are practical things. Your salary is 100,000 naira in a month, and you are spending, or your expenditure, both fixed and variable put together, is about 95,000 naira, or even 110,000 naira, which means your expenditure is even more or higher than your earnings or income. What do you do? How do you go about this? These are practical issues. 4, financial planning. So if you don't plan your finances to succeed, you are definitely planning to fail in your personal finances. The ultimate objective is to achieve effective and ethical resources management. These are the ethical and ultimate objectives of financial intelligence. So let's start with the first component, that is financial literacy. And I would like to start by quoting the definition of financial literacy given by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. It defines financial literacy as a combination of awareness, knowledge, skills, attributes, and behaviors needed to make sound financial decisions. Please, let's look at the key words, key terms in this definition. Financial literacy involves, or rather, is a combination, which means if you have one leg and you don't have the other leg, or you have one leg and you don't have the other 4 legs, you are not really financially literate. Yes, you may be financially semi-literate, but not fully literate. So you need to combine awareness. If you don't know, you wouldn't even appreciate the importance of financial literacy. When you know or you hear about it, you try to acquire the skills. You are in the process of acquiring knowledge and gaining skills. But then your attitudes and behavior also matter. For if you don't have changed behavior, if you do not change your behavior towards financial recklessness, extravagant spendings, you will definitely be able to manage and effectively plan and implement your personal finances. So behavior and attitude, these two are equally very important in financial literacy. So when you put this together, these 5 elements together, then you'll be able to make sound financial decisions. Financial literacy, therefore, can be described as the capacity of an individual to apply financial knowledge, skills, and mindset in managing resources in line with Islamic principles, because we are Muslims. As the convener said in his welcome address, we are guided by halal and haram, by do's and don'ts, by al-ma'ruf and al-munkar. So therefore, Islamic principles are always there to guide us. When you look at the umbrella called financial literacy, or you look at the gamut of what constitutes financial literacy, you would see that so many things are there. For example, self-motivation. If you don't have self-motivation, you will definitely be financially literate. You will not even go where they talk about financial literacy. People think that since they have money and they can spend it, so be it. They don't care. They don't want to know how to manage their finances, how to plan and implement their finances. They do not know the importance of financial literacy. And therefore, you see them spending lavishly, even where they can make some savings, they don't. Where they can invest, they will not. And when it is time for them to benefit or to enjoy, maybe their retirement, they begin to move from one place to another, seeking for what to do or how to even resettle. Especially if they are living in maybe staff quarters. They don't even have a plot of land. They don't have any plan for their retirement or for their retirement, for settlement after retirement, and they don't know where to go. So sometimes you see, not even schools like this, but even in the university, you see a professor thinking of where to go after retirement. At 70, he retires, but he doesn't know where to go. He has nowhere to go. Not because he never had an opportunity to buy a plot of land, no matter how small, even if it's just a quarter of a plot or half of a plot, start somewhere. We know many, many wealthy people today in Nigeria who have started small and gradually they continue to grow until when they build mansions. They build mansions. But they started somewhere. You can start small plot of land, build, even if it is 1-bedroom apartment, start there. And gradually you are moving. When you get more funds, that you can sell that, make some profit out of it, and then top up some money to buy a bigger land, you buy and you build. That's how to do it. But if you don't know, you won't actually appreciate the value of doing that. So sometimes you feel you are comfortable because you never lack. Whatever you want, you eat. Whatever dress you want to wear, or clothes you want to wear, you wear. You never thought that there will come a day when you won't be able to hustle, and that you need to resettle enjoy the fruit of your labor for like 30, 40 years. You were teaching, you were, in the service of an organization, and yet you won't be able to rest. Why? Because you have nowhere to go. So self-motivation, budget planning, consumption tracking. You need to track your consumption. It's part of financial literacy. If you understand financial literacy, you will know the importance of tracking your spendings, tracking your consumption to see where you can cut. You can cut costs and make more savings. The issue of ethical spendings or ethical financial dealings is part of what we learn in financial literacy. Financial literacy enables teachers to model positive financial behavior. Because if you are taking through a comprehensive course on financial literacy, it will enable you to model positive financial behavior, empowers them with practical decision-making skills, and provides them with the knowledge to nurture their financial well-being. Let's take this scenario. Abdullah is a newly employed teacher at an Islamic school. He wants to save money for Eid gifts for Amatullah, whose hand in marriage he is seeking. Because if he does not give her Eid gifts, there might be problem. She will say, this man is stingy. He's not even ready to marry me. The parent will say, what kind of a man you have? So he needs to save, he needs money to give her, some a kind of Eid gift. But he tends to spend his salary quickly. Each time he gets his salary, he spends it. How can Abdullah manage his salary more effectively to meet his financial goal? Assuming he has like 3 months to plan, 3 months to save enough money to be able to gift Amatullah Eid gift. What practical steps can he take to save consistently, even after the Eid? What practical step can Abdullah take to save consistently? How can planning improve his financial well-being and reduce stress during Eid? I believe this is something that is practical also. Isn't it? Maybe one Abdullah here would even attest to the fact that it happened to him last Eid. Or one Amatullah will remember what Abdullah told her about his predicament, that he wanted to gift her maybe 100,000 naira, but he was only able to gift her only 10,000 naira. Scenario 2. Amatul Rahman, a teacher earning a monthly salary of 40,000 naira, is raising 2 school-age children after losing her husband earlier this year. To supplement her income and cover rent and school fees, she plans to start a home-based business selling homemade dates and sweets. How can Amatul Rahman balance her time, values, and responsibilities effectively while working towards financial stability? Why is record keeping important for her in managing both her household and business finances? Do we have the answer now? Even if we have, let's keep it. We'll come back to it. The second component of financial intelligence is budgeting and money management. Budgeting is simply the process of creating a plan to allocate income towards expenses, savings, and financial goals in order to avoid israf, extravagance. Fulfill obligations and practice wasatiyah or moderation in the use of financial resources. This is very important for every Muslim. You create a plan to allocate your limited financial resources to match it with your expenditure. And to be able to save and invest the surplus in line with your financial goals. And the objectives are, one, to avoid israf. التبذير ولا تبذر تبذيرا إن المبذرين كانوا إخوان الشياطين وكان الشيطان لربه كفورا والذين إذا أنفقوا لم يسرفوا ولم يقتروا وكان بين ذلك قواما. You avoid israf and tabdhir. Fulfill your obligations because there are certain obligations on you. If you are married, you have a family, you are supposed to maintain your family. It's your responsibility to provide for them. Provide food, shelter, sound education, cater for their medication. These are obligations. So the essence of budgeting is to enable you to fulfill your obligations. And if you are able to save enough, invest enough, and make money that is zakatable, you pay zakat out of it. Where you cannot pay zakat, it's not up to nisab, at least pay some amount in charity. It's only through budgeting process, whether written or written, that will be able to do this. And also to practice wasatiyah, moderation, in the use of financial resources. لا إسراف ولا تقتير لم يسرف ولم يقتر ولا تجعل يدك مغلولة إلى عنقك ولا تبسطها كل البسط. moderation وكذلك جعلناكم أمة وسطا. It's not only in aqidah or manhaj or in practice of religion like ibadah, but also in financial dealings, in everything. Al-wasatiyah. It is budgeting that will help you achieve that. Money management is the broader practice of making decisions about earnings, spending, saving, investing, and protecting money with the purpose of ensuring accountability and fulfilling the amana of wealth. So you manage your wealth, you manage your financial resources accountably and with integrity in order to fulfill the requirement of accountability. We'll be reminded by the MC that our sources of wealth and sources of spending the wealth will all be asked on the day of Qiyamah. لا تزول قدم عبد يوم القيامة من عند ربه حتى يسأل عن 50. Another narration عن 4. He shall be asked عن ماله من أين اكتسب وفيما أنفقه. How did he get it? How did he accumulate? And how did he spend it? So accountability, it is through prudent financial resource management that you will be able to achieve that. And also, money or wealth is an amana. وَآتُوهُمْ مِنْ مَالِ اللَّهِ الَّذِي آتَاكُمْ. So the wealth you are in possession of today is not your own. It belongs to Allah. It is Allah who has that wealth. وَلِلَّهِ مِيرَاثُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Everything belongs to Allah. And that's why Allah says, وَآتُوهُمْ مِنْ مَالِ اللَّهِ الَّذِي آتَاكُمْ. مِنْ مَالِ اللَّهِ. مِنْ مَالِ اللَّهِ. So how do you now keep that trust? How do you render that trust? إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُكُمْ أَن تُؤَدُّوا الْأَمَانَاتِ إِلَى أَهْلِهَا. How do you render the trust? resource management. And that is why money management is an essential component of financial intelligence from Islamic perspective, from the Islamic perspective. Budgeting and money management involves 5 basic activities. Number 1, setting financial goals in terms of short term, like payment of rent, school fees, medication, and the rest. Electricity bills, water bills, etc. They are short term. Medium term, like buying a laptop or a car. You may not be able to buy a laptop immediately. It may take you about 6 months, 1 year planning to buy. Especially because it's not an essential thing to you, even though in some cases, depending on the work environment, a laptop may be so essential that you won't be able to afford not to have it. Then long term, like owning a house where you will settle back after retirement. Maybe in your village or any community that you wish or you hope or you want to settle after retirement. That is setting your financial goal. Where am I today? Where are you today? Where do you want to be tomorrow? Financial goals. What do you want to have? What do you want to own? What do you want to enjoy? 2, income determination. You need to determine your income in form of salary, private tutoring as a teacher, if it does not conflict with your primary assignment in ACCE-Abuja, wherever you are teaching. You should also work extra. After school hours, you need to engage in private tutoring, even if it is over the weekend or during weekends. Stipends from administrative roles. In some cases, you may be paid stipends as honorarium or allowance for administrative roles in addition to normal teaching. Business profits, where you have a side business, you are doing a side business, so profits accruing from that business is part of your income. Gifts that someone may come and give you. These are streams of income. So you need to determine your income. If you do not know your income, you won't be able to plan. And even if you plan, you will plan bogus. But you won't be able to meet up with that. So you need to determine your income, know your income streams in terms of inflows before you talk about outflows. The third activity is fixed and variable expenditure. That is the outflow. In terms of food, transport, clothing, rent, school fees, other bills. These are part of your monthly spendings, monthly expenditure. Track your spending, because if you do not track your spendings, you wouldn't know. There might be some leakages that you can block. There might be some leakages that you can block. Must you always, for example, use Uber or Bolt in coming to school when you know that you need to spend 1,000 naira or 2,000 naira per trip? Even when you have a bus, a scheduled bus that follows that route that you follow or that you use every day, why don't you save 2,000 naira? Or rather, why don't you save like 1,500 naira in a day and use only 500 naira as transport fare using the public transport? Especially if you know that your income is not that sufficient, it's not adequate to cater for your needs. There are leakages that you can block, but you don't know. You allow these leakages to continue. Track your spendings. Perhaps you may realize that you don't even need 3 square meals. Probably when you eat twice, it's enough. but you think you must eat 3 times. If you are the Malaysian guy or the Malaysian guy, you eat 5 times a day. Even when you can make do with 2 square meals. Why don't you block that leakages in order to save more money for education of your children, for medication, and even for long-term investment? Track your spendings. Avoid debt. Avoid debt. Or use it responsibly. One of the popular adage in Hausa language, I do not know the source, but maybe my mentor professor will help us. There is this popular adage, Bashi Hanjini, Yena Chikin Goa. That people are being encouraged to be indebted. Why? When the Prophet on a daily basis will pray against indebtedness, and you are saying indebtedness is like human intestine. So everybody has it. What is this? We're supposed to seek refuge with Allah from what? Indebtedness. Attain. So avoid debt unless it is necessary. And where necessary, use it responsibly. Use it responsibly. For example, is it prudent to borrow money from a friend or seek financing from an Islamic or a non-interest financial institution on the basis of murabaha in order to acquire household equipment for a new wife you are planning to bring? If you have to acquire financing or get financing from an Islamic financial institution to acquire household equipment for the new wife and Amaria that is coming, it means you are not ready for it. So why must you do that? Is it prudent? It's not prudent. You are not prudent in the management of your resources. So avoid debt unless necessary, and where necessary, use it responsibly. 4, saving and investment. Create emergency funds or save for special occasions. Always try to see how you can save emergency or create an emergency fund. There is this Pareto rule that I will talk about in the next slide. Most of the times when you look at our spendings, depending on our income, 70% of our income will take care of our spendings in most cases. The 30% can be saved. Because whether you have that 30% or not, you will still survive. If your salary is just 50,000 naira, you realize that if you spend 40,000 naira, you will be able to take care of all the needs you use 50,000 naira to take care of. Meaning, assuming you will have a cut in your salary by 10,000 naira, you will still survive. So why don't you plan to save it on your own without waiting for any salary cut from your employer? Because if you have a salary cut of 10,000 out of 50,000 naira, you will still survive it. You will easily adjust. That 10,000 naira will not be anything. Which means ordinarily, even where it is there with you, for you, you can make do without it. You can do without it. So why don't you save that 10,000 naira? Invest surplus in halal outlets. We'll talk about that. Adjusted plans is the 5th activity. You need to adjust your plan because one of the essentials of good planning is making room for adjustments. Adapt to changes. When there are changes, like a salary cut, job loss, or increased family needs, you should be able to adjust. Sometimes, and in fact, it is even practical, we all know, many of us, if for whatever reason we lost our jobs, if we lose our job, give us just 1 month. The next month we're in trouble. We will start crying. Why don't we save for that kind of? Why don't we save for those kind of things? Why? We will wake up one day and we will be told that our services are no longer needed, are no longer required. So what do? Before you could get another job, it will be like 2 months, 3 months. How do you adjust? What do you do within the period of job seeking? It's important that as someone who is conscious of these changes in our financial earnings, to plan for this kind of eventualities. What about increased family needs? Whenever there is increase in family need, we should be able to adjust. If we are used to taking every meal with protein, and we now have increase in family need, why don't we adjust to just 2 meals with protein and 1 without? Why don't we adjust? Why don't we adjust by saying, okay, 2 days with protein, 2 days without protein, or protein every other day, no protein every other day? This is the kind of adjustment we need to do in order to manage our finances very well. Budgeting and money management are habits of discipline. Very important. They are habits of discipline, responsibility, and ethical living that empower individuals to make wise decisions, achieve financial stability, and reflect gratitude, trust, and accountability for the blessings of wealth. Wealth is a blessing. Nobody will say he doesn't need wealth, that he has nothing to do with wealth. No, unless if he has problem in his psyche. Otherwise, a right-thinking person would always want to have wealth. وَتُحِبُّونَ الْمَالَ حُبًّا جَمًّا وَإِنَّهُ لِحُبِّ الْخَيْرِ لَشَدِيدٌ. That's the nature of human beings. But then it is important for you to achieve financial stability, make wise decisions in order to achieve financial stability, and also to reflect gratitude. الشكر لله على نعمه. That wealth is a blessing. ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم. So for you to appreciate, to reflect, to be grateful or gratitude to Allah, to also keep the trust that Allah has given you with regards to the wealth He has entrusted you with, and also to be accountable for the blessings of wealth, then you need to plan, you need to budget, you need to effectively manage your resources. The third component of financial intelligence is saving and investing. Saving means setting aside a portion of income for future use instead of spending it immediately. In line with the principles of tawakkul, moderation, and the effort to fulfill future obligations. Savings is in line with the Islamic principle of tawakkul. By tawakkul, it means you put your trust in Allah, but you also take practical steps to prepare. Taking practical steps to prepare. But if you just put your trust in Allah without taking any practical steps, there is no tawakkul, no complete tawakkul. In fact, if there is not taken, you will be a victim of at-tawakkul. At-tawakkul instead of at-tawakkul. Because putting trust in Allah means you take practical steps to prepare, while putting your trust in Allah with regards to the outcome. It's not just your effort that will give you whatever you get, but it is Allah. But then you have to take practical steps to prepare, to do the needful. That is what is called at-tawakkul in Islam. So saving is in line with the principle of tawakkul. It's also in line with the principle of moderation. الذين إذا أنفقوا لم يسرفوا ولم يقتروا وكان بين ذلك قواما. So you maintain a balance. And also effort to fulfill your future obligations. What happens if your wife falls sick? What happens if your child falls sick? What about payment of school fees? These are future obligations. What happens at the end of the month if you are presented with electricity bill? What happens? How do you pay if you spend everything immediately without any saving? Investing involves using saved money to generate additional income or profit over time with the purpose of wealth growth, long-term planning, and contributing economically to one's family and community. If you invest, you will grow your wealth. You will also achieve long-term financial planning. You will also be able to contribute economically to the development of your own family and your community. Because if you invest, you will have surplus money, you will be able to help others, you will support others. Maybe you even have a kind of small business that you will employ others. That is an economic contribution to yourself, to your family, and to your community. The Quran and Sunnah encourage wealth creation through personal income, savings, and investments. Islam promotes acquiring more than immediate needs to support others and encourages balancing present consumption with future needs. I have quoted this verse repeatedly. وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا أَنفَقُوا لَمْ يُسْرِفُوا وَلَمْ يَقْتُرُوا وَكَانَ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ قَوَامًا in Surah Al-Furqan, chapter 25, verse 67. And then, وَلَا تُبَذِّرْ تَبْذِيرًا إن المبذرين كانوا إخوان الشياطين وكان الشيطان لربه كفورا in Surah Al-Isra, chapter 17, verse 29. This highlights the importance of savings and investment. Since I don't need to spend it. I was telling some people, some members of my family, that I still have money that I was given in 2022. Was it 2022 or early 2023? A class in our department that graduated 15 years ago had a kind of, what do you call it? A reunion. They invited us and they gave us some money. And that day, I had no need for that money. And I said I would only spend it the day I believe if I spend it, I will be happy that I got this money from my students. If that day did not come, I will keep it because I want to be happy whenever I spend it. I want to be more appreciative of that gift. And it is only when I need it that I will spend one line, I still have it. In its envelope, I didn't even open it. Not that I am rich. You all know I'm a university lecturer. And my monthly salary is not enough to even take care of my family. I have to look for extra. So I always have passive income. Always, alhamdulillah. But that money, I want to use it the very day that if I use it, I spend it, I will be more appreciative of that gift. So I kept it, and I will continue to keep it, inshallah, until the day that when I spend it, I will gather my family members and say, this is courtesy of my students. But many of us don't have this culture. We don't have this culture of keeping money. We feel as if it is biting us. Come on, put in cheese. We just want to spend it. Even when we have no need for it. So the following are some tips and strategies for halal saving and investing. First, you need to create a monthly budget. How much are you going to save from your little earnings? From your income. How much? And you should start small and be consistent. Start small and be consistent. You don't have to start big. Start small. Even if it's just 1,000 naira or 2,000 naira in a month. from your 50,000 naira salary, you can save 1,000 or 2,000 naira. Start small. 2, establish emergency fund through consistent savings. You have to know, you should always remember that one day you would need money. And if you don't save, you will not have anything to use. And it doesn't matter. You will be going from one place to another looking for help, and nobody will be there to help you. 3, use Sharia-compliant savings platforms. We have many of them today. Sharia-compliant savings platforms. You can invest in cooperative. Teachers cooperative. You can form a cooperative society and invest. You can invest outside. We have so many non-interest financial institutions that are into several, or that have several, products and services that are Sharia compliant. We all know Cook. Even though Cook is for the semi-rich. But even small, you can save small. It's just 10,000 naira, for example, LGM Cook is 10,000 naira per unit. So 1,000, but the minimum is 10,000. And then subsequently, 1,000. You can save, you can invest. The current one, which is the 7th series, is 19.5%, which is good enough as an investment. And it's Sharia compliant. It is structured along Ijara Mawsufa fi Dhimma. That's forward lease Ijara. Taj has just released, I don't know whether they have closed it, the 2nd series of the Dogarawa Skook notes. It is there, you can also invest. We have so many other corporates, Sukuk. We have even subnational. Lagos State, Sokoto, Gombe. Well, the one of Kazana, it is liable to higher, but it's still there, not really performing well. And more subnational schools are coming up. They're in the pipeline. In terms of corporate schools, we have many. And then we have fund managers. At least, as at the last count, we have about 11 licensed by Securities and Exchange Commission. You have the like of Lotus Capital, you have 117, you have Dynamas that has just gotten its license recently, just about 2 months ago. And many of them that can help you manage your finances, you can actually invest. Even in our normal commercial, non-interest financial institutions like banks, Jaiz Bank, Taj Bank, Lotus Bank, Alternative Bank, Summit, Alim is coming. All these banks, they have Mudaraba savings account. You can put your money there, it is a savings account, but structured along the line of Mudaraba, which means you are the Rabbul Mal, the fund owner, the capital owner, and the bank is the Mudarib, the manager, the entrepreneur. And whatever you get, whatever it's realized as profit from your little savings, you have a share out of that. And when they do it, they use enterprise risk management approach, whereby they diversify the portfolio. And that's why, to our knowledge up to today, we are not aware of any case since 2012 when Jaiz Bank started, we're not aware of any case whereby an Islamic bank says we are not paying anything at the end of the month from Mudaraba savings account. Why? Because they are using buckets. So when do they carry the money? They use portfolio, real portfolio, diversification in terms of portfolio management. So these are outlets that you can save your money, invest your money, and if you have more, you have like ₦1 million, you can even save in Mudaraba term deposit instead of just a Mudaraba savings account. Mudaraba term deposit, you can save, you can put your money there, and you get. But with Scoop now, there's abundant opportunities, and there's an opportunity there. And then if you are looking for financing to start up a business, you can actually approach a bank with your feasibility study, with your business proposal. If it is found worthy, viable, either on murabaha basis or on mudaraba, even though it's very rare because of lack of amana among many clients, or musharaka if you have something to contribute and you partner with them. Or maybe you are a farmer, you can go into like salam. You can get financing from an Islamic financial institution on the basis of salam. You can also use, business is for big people who want to establish, companies, or maybe who want to go into real estate. But at least for each type of client, there is a convenient financial product and or service. You can go for ijara, muntaya bit-tabliq, or ijara thumma al-bay', or ijara wa iktina, depending on the nomenclature. I think CBN is insisting now that we use ijara wa iktina, instead of ijara thumma al-bay' or ijara muntaya bit-tabliq. There is also ijara service, ijara al-khadamat, which is also available. Ijara al-khadamat, you can actually seek ijara finance in respect of school fees, in respect of education, in respect of tourism or Hajj, and the rest of them. And they are all Sharia compliant, provided the do's and don'ts of the Sharia are observed. They are Sharia compliant. Al-Aslu fil ashya al-ibaha. So all you need is to put the ingredients to make sure that you do it correctly. For example, when you take like murabaha lil amir bishra, that is murabaha to the purchasing order, you have to make sure that the financial institution owns the assets before signing the contract of sale with the client. Once the sequence is observed, it is Sharia compliant, because they know if they are not compliant, it will be declared impermissible or non-permissible income, NPI, and that will erode their performance or profits. So you use Sharia compliant savings platforms. You can take your money to any fund manager, Islamic fund manager, like Lotus Capital, or like 117, or Dinamars, or Capital Trust Fixed Income, or Fixed Halal Income. You can take it, they will invest either on the basis of Mudaraba for you, or on the basis of Wakala. These are outlets for you to invest your money. Join cooperative societies and micro pension scheme, especially for long-term. Micro pension scheme for long-term plans, and make sure you use halal investment options alone. Let me quickly round up. Avoid the following financial pitfalls when investing. Number one, beware of Ponzi schemes disguised as halal ventures. There are many Ponzi schemes. Some are not Ponzi, they are real schemes, but they are not halal. For example, some people will go into like multi-level marketing or pyramid marketing, which is not permissible, like the one that LNGD does, and many other companies do. Or maybe you see someone advertising on his social media handle, maybe like a ram or a very big chicken, and it is for sale. So you pay like 10,000 or 15,000 naira for it. But you will never take delivery. You will never see it. After some time, you will be told that it has been sold and that you make X profit. This is haram in disguise. It is haram in disguise. Or people who go into foreign exchange trading online without making sure that they observe the rules of the Sharia regarding yadun biyadin, Muslim, if it is the same currency, or if it is different currency, wealth is not abundance, of property, but the richness of the soul. That is what is important. So, with little income, you can live happily, you can save, you can invest, you can create wealth, you can grow it, you can protect it, and you can distribute, inshallah, tabaraka wa ta'ala. Wa subhanakallah wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wa assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for this time.
That's a
This wonderful.
قالوا أضغاث أحلام وما نحن بتأويل الأحلام بعالمين وقال الذي نجا منهما وادكر بعد أمة أنا أنبئكم بتأويله فأرسلون يوسف أيها الصديق أفتنا في 7 بقرات سمان يأكلهن 7 عجاف و7 سنبلات خضر وأخر يابسات لعلي أرجع إلى الناس لعلهم يعلمون قال تزرعون 7 سنين دأبا فما حصدتم فذروه في سنبله إلا قليلا مما تأكلون قال تزرعون 7 سنين دأبا فما حصدتم فذروه في سنبله إلا قليلا مما تحصنون صدق الله العظيم.
To the end of what has been a truly enlightening session. So we'll say the closing prayer, and then at the end of it we'll have a group picture photo session, and after that we'll move to the masjid and pray. Jazakumullahu khairan to each and every one of you for making it to be a success. May Allah bless each and every one of us and take us back to our various destinations safely. Sallu ala nabiyil kareem. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma ihdina fi man hadayt wa afina fi man afayt wa tawallana fi man tawallayt wa barik lana fi ma a'tayt wa qina wasrif anna sharra ma qadayt innaka taqdi bil haqqi wa la yuqda alayk innahu la yadhillu man walayt wa la yu'izzu man adayt tabarakta rabbana wa ta'alayt ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم. So please